Hello everyone, this is Dr. Surya. It has been a long time and we have done a research on inflow forecasting of Bhavanisagar reservoir using artificial neural network, that is ANN, and I am going to present here the research findings of this case study. It has been a team work. So let us go into the presentation outline. So first I will give you the introduction, then what is ANN, what is MATLAB, and what is about the study area and how far we proceed this methodology, results and discussion, and also the conclusion. So coming to the introduction, if you see that hydrologic forecasting of inflow into the reservoir, it plays a major role. Why? If you take in the case of means, it is helpful in effective reservoir management because if you have a proper and efficient reservoir operation, then means only you can have a better flood protection and we can enhance the reservoir yields also. But what happens is that it is not easier to predict the hydrological parameters, and many of the hydrological parameters are subjected to uncertainty. So what here we have done is that an appropriate forecasting method, that is a feed forward artificial neural network, was used in this study so that we can get an reliable information of inflow into the reservoir. So here we have chosen the Bhavanisagar reservoir. We have taken that as a case study and we have done a research on it actually. So going into the ANN, so many a time we are talking about ANN, slowly we are moving towards this ANN also. So ANN is something like it possesses a large number of processing elements and it is called as nodes or neurons. So that is operating in parallel. Okay, so in simple I can say that, so it is a computational model. It will be consisting of large number of processing elements so that you can receive the input as well as you can deliver the output based on their activation level. So that is called as ANN. And mainly if you take best example we can say is that our human brain. So ANN is it mimics the way how our nerve cell is working in the human brain. The same thing only this ANN also does actually. So each and every neuron or nerve, it is connected by each other using a connection link, and each link will be associated with certain weights and they will contain the information about what is the input signal we are following it out. So that is called as, and where we are using this ANN, if you take in the case that we are using in facial recognition. So we are using our mobile phones, there we are having our pattern recognition, facial recognition, and somewhere else your signature verification in banks and handwriting analysis. So these are some of the examples where we use this ANN here actually. So you take here, so as such I have told here, so artificial neural network, it is composed of many artificial neurons. So these are all neurons, they are interlinked with each other to a specific structure. So the main aim of this ANN is nothing but you are going to transform the inputs into outputs. In simple we can say that when we see certain things, that is our nerve is connected to our brain, how we get the information to the brain, and automatically, supposing if a mosquito bites us, what we do automatically, we tap that place using our finger. How does is then from the brain a nerve is connected and that input is transformed and that is giving an output. The same way only here also the neural network is something like we are transforming the inputs into the meaningful outputs. Okay, this is a structure of ANN network for our water resources problem. Say for example, if you are giving an input as input nodes, these are called as our input nodes. And this input node, say for water inflow or temperature or precipitation or slow melt, whatever it is. So if you are giving this input layers and this is getting transformed into one node or one meaningful output layer. So in between you will have some hidden layers also, and this W is nothing but our connection weight matrices. So something that is input is given and it is getting processed and then an output is given. So this is a structure of a ANN network. So if you take the neural network mathematics, so how that input output transformation is linked. So we go it by an equation. So y out is called as f of x comma w. So this y is going to be the neuron's output and f is going to be the function, x is going to be the vector of inputs and w is the vector of synaptic weights. So what do you mean by the synaptic weight? So synaptic weight is nothing but the strength of connection between two nodes. So if you are having one node here and one node here, so how these two nodes are connected to each other. So that is called as your synaptic weight. So how strongly it is interlinked with each other. So that is called as your synaptic weight. And if you come back to the topology of the neural network, so one is going to be your completely connected. That is each and every neuron is connected to with each other. So that is called as completely connected. And another way that I can say that topology is the way the neurons are connected, and it is mostly important for our network functioning and learning. And second one is going to be the feed forward connection. So it is called as directed or acyclic one. So here if you take that, the connection will not form any loop, and the thing is that it will accept multiple inputs. So you can see here is one input, second input, third input. So it will accept multiple inputs and it can process and it can give back the output. And next one is going to be the recurrent connections or feedback connections. So say based upon the feedback, again it can process. It is similar to that case. So if you take that, you can see that there are input layers. So many input layers are here. So the output from the previous step, so if this is the output from the previous step is again it can be given as an input, and that is called as recurrent. Suppose if you take a customer connection or whatever, they are asking feedback to us, and based on the feedback again the particular system or particular thing is getting improved. The similar way, this is called as a feedback connections. So these are the different topology of neural network which is necessary for this particular study. So next is coming to that, I have used MATLAB. We have used MATLAB also here. MATLAB is nothing but the matrix laboratory. So it is one interpreted language, and where you can program your thing, and it's a very good tool for the manipulation of matrices, and it is very easy to learn and very simple to use also. So it's an integrated interactive scientific computation. You can we can use it for our scientific computations. So study area description. So as you all know that Bhavani river, it is flowing along Coimbatore and Erode districts, and this is a major river which provides water for drinking, agriculture and industry. But due to population explosion, so urbanization is getting increased in the command area, and there is more demand for water in both domestic and industrial sector. So what happens is that the basin is getting stressed more and more. So because of that, there exists a huge demand supply gap in agriculture as well as in domestic sectors. So that is why this particular river has been taken into consideration. And here we have selected our lower basin, that is lower Bhavani basin is taken. And if you take the entire Bhavani basin, it is located between 10 degrees 55 minutes north to 11 degree 45 degrees north latitude, and 75 degree 13 minutes east to 77 degree 40 minutes east longitude. And mainly this area consists of hilly regions, and there are also a plain terrain with a minimum altitude of about 215 meter and maximum altitude of about 1487 meter above MSL. And this, if you take the entire catchment area, it is found to be 4200 square kilometers, and the average annual rainfall basin is found to be 618 mm in this particular area. And this is going to be the index map of the Bhavani river. And what the methodology we have followed is that so this ANN model will be trained and simulated by using a program that is written in a MATLAB environment, and then if there is any lack of data is found, and it is obviated by generating synthetic data, and the data we have used is that 24 years of data we have used, of historical data we have used in the form of average monthly inflow, and these data were used to train, test and validate the model. So mainly if you have a data here, all the data is split into three parts. One is your training set. So training set, what the purpose of training set is that you can determine the network weight, and second one will be your validation set. So it is to estimate your network performance, how your model is performing or not. Third one is going to be the prediction set, that is to estimate the future expected performance. So in similarly, first for the training set, we will be determining the new network weight. Second is validation, we will determining how far whether it is correct or not, we will be validating it. And third one, if it is correct, then using the prediction set we can forecast the next one. So this is how the methodology used, and here we have used reservoir inflow data and climate data as a major input to this particular model. So using this we have created an input nodes, and then the weightage has been assigned, and ANN model has been run. Then we have calibrated and validated the model, and finally we have taken our output. And finally all the results were compared with the observed values of the reservoir. And what we have done in this, that we have simulated the inflow for the period of 2049 to 2064 as per our IPCC AR4 report. So from the predicted values we can decide what is the appropriate storage and discharge from the reservoir, and based on this we can prevent the extreme crisis in near future. Okay. So this ANN in MATLAB, it provides functions to model a complex nonlinear system, and it cannot be modeled using a closed form equation. Okay, and here the custom network architecture, we have used the feed forward back propagation algorithm, and then in MATLAB we are using it to predict the inflow of the reservoir. So the main input data as such I have mentioned this: rainfall, relative humidity, solar radiation, wind speed, maximum temperature, minimum temperature for these particular 24 years, and all the data has been stored in Excel format and it has been imported into MATLAB. So based upon these data a new network is created, and the network type here we have used is the feed forward neural network with back propagation algorithm, and it is trained, and we have found out what is the procedure, how far it is taken up, that is it is adapted the learning number, and how many number of layers is required, and how many number of neurons is required. So everything is chosen, and then the Levenberg Marquardt back propagation training is used for training the feed forward neural network, and then the MSE, that is mean squared error, it is minimized during the training. And this back propagation algorithm, it sends the forward signals and propagates the errors backward. So again the network will receive the input from neurons within the layer, then the output is given by the neurons at an output layer. So this is how it has been used, and this is one of the input data, that is the monthly reservoir inflow data for that particular period. And if you take the results, mainly this model training and prediction is mainly done through neural network toolbox in MATLAB itself, and because it is very easy to use and user friendly also, and we have seen the regression plot, it tells the relationship between the network outputs and targets. So if you take the R value, it indicates the relationship between what is the output and what is the target. So if supposing if the R value is 1, you can find that there is a linear relationship is existing between the output and target. If it is close to 0, then there is no linear relationship at all. So from the plot for us we are getting an R value of about 0.9. So this network can be employed for predicting the future inflow. So that is how first we have to see whether the model what we have created is whether it is okay or not. So if you this mainly it is determined by using this R value. So here in our particular data we are getting the R value as 0.9. So we can use this particular model for predicting the future inflow. So next is that error histogram also will be given as an output, So this shows how far the error has been distributed in the network. So after training several times, and we can change the hidden neurons also. So changing it, we will be getting the mean square error. So it is found that from the histogram that error values are minimum in training and maximum in testing. So this is an error histogram what we have obtained. Okay, then the simulated input values will be imported to the data manager, and there will be an option called simulate, and using that option we can simulate the inflow data for the period of 2049 to 2064. So this values of inflow of Bhavanisagar reservoir is mainly trained by ANN model, and the observed value for the period of 1989 to 2013 is compared with the predicted data, so that both the data are okay or not. So whether it is fitting with the observed value or not is found. So after training and validation, then the network object, it can be utilized to compute the response of any of the input. So this is the observed and predicted inflow in ANN. So you can see blue color is going to be the predicted inflow, and red color is going to be the observed inflow. Okay. So if you take that the Bhavanisagar reservoir is a major agricultural source, and there is an increase in temperature, change in the climate change is changing, and the reservoir inflow pattern is changing. So everything leads to the imbalance in reservoir storage and release. So you can use the simulate your reservoir inflow using ANN, and for in this particular study it is trained for a period of 1989 to 2013, and the results will compared with the observed values, and since because the mean square error value is found within the reasonable range, you can this model is used to simulate for a period of 2049 to 2064, and then again it is compared with the present scenario. So if you take the mean square error values, so during training it is obtained as 7.2, validation it is 20.65, and during the testing it is 124.69. So this basin values are generated according to AR4 report, and reservoir inflow is simulated. So the prediction of reservoir inflow for future is done using ANN model, and there is a meager reduction in the average inflow of reservoir for a year. So this intensity of the inflow during monsoon periods gets severe actually. So by adapting the simulated value, so appropriate measures can be taken on reservoir storage, so that the extreme crisis can be minimized or minimized in future. So these are some of the references, and what I have presented in this particular presentation, the reference will be given in the description chapter, and if you want you can go and see to it. So these are the some of the references, and I thank the people who have indulged in this research, and also taken some of the images from Google, and I acknowledge those also here. Thank you, and happy learning.